All right, Ford F250, 1994, 19-gallon fuel tank. This was the one I got for $900. I got the starter going, and then my neighbor helped me to bleed the lines. And this is a 7.3 liter non-turbo. Right now I've got this, I had to clean all the lines out, but this is just an update on this project. But just to show you what we did to get it going. First off, after the starter was engaged, it was out of primes, so what we did was we filled up this fuel filter with diesel and screwed it back on. Now of course this line was here. This is the line that comes from the fuel filter, and so we did that, put fuel in there, and it still wouldn't start. So then my neighbor went from each one of these injector hoses, starting from 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and as I cranked it, he had these cracked, and just a little bit until he started seeing the diesel start coming up through there. And it was when I got to the 8th one that that's when we finally got it to crank. And then it was running good. Slower start than I'd like, but and then I took it for about a 40-mile trip, and when I got to my destination or close to it, it stalled on me, and I could get it started and then it stalled again. And so ended up having to tow it back here, and the thought was that there was junk in the fuel. So that is when I decided I was just going to do a total complete try to check and see what's going on with the fuel system. So I dropped the tank, I undid these hoses right here, ended up going to get put on the new fuel filter, the fuel pump, mechanical fuel pump. And then so what happened when I went into the tank, I'll show you what I found out. Alright, so what I found was that the strainer had disintegrated, and this is all that was left of it. But there was also a whole bunch of these little pieces of the strainer cap. And so this is the one for the 19-gallon tank right here. And as you can tell, this is where the strainer would be. And so I guess by 1994, in that amount of time, this disintegrates. This is the rear tank. The same thing had happened. Again, this is all I found. But then I get a whole bunch of that ranging in size from smaller to bigger than that. So all that is being sucked up in this inlet tube. This is a return tube. Okay. So also on this one I had pitting all up and down this tube. So there definitely was some water pitting up in here. So I ended up finding one of these on eBay for $80. It's an aftermarket. Thankfully I didn't have to pay the $400. I'm deciding I'm not going to go with the rear tank. It's a small tank. I'm suspecting that the tank switcher probably got a lot of the junk in it too. So we're getting rid of the tank switcher and just going with a single line just coming out of the main tank. This is the tank switcher right here. That doesn't sound good. I don't think it should have the sound of diesel in it. So my thought is that there's a lot of blockage in there. Probably the main problem is right here, but I did find some of that the black plastic material had made its way up in here, thought was that the mechanical fuel pump might have some blockage, so got rid of that. So I've already blown out the lines. I've just got to make the connection, get the connectors for the to redo the. This is the O-rings that should go on that metal line coming from the mechanical fuel pump to the filter. I'm going to change those out. These are supposed to work to be like my coupler between the two what is that called? Vinyl lines with the quick connect. So just what I found out, like I said, if I would have just done a kind of a I don't know, just a not go all out into the repair that I needed to, I would have had the same problem over and over and over again. You're just going to have to drop the tank, go through that trouble, and this is the rear tank right here. As you can tell, it doesn't hold much anyway, so but it's still got some of that stuff in there. I'm gonna see if I can get that light turned on. Let me see if I can get this thing to focus on. Let's see, where's my camera? That's a little bit better. You can see all of that in there. That stuff is going to get sucked up into your inlet line. Where'd my light go? Yeah, all that stuff is going to get sucked in. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyways, that's the idea with that. So, your older model Ford, that's going to be the suspected cause of any fuel problem that you have. Alright, here's the inside. I haven't looked at it like this before. The inside of the 1919. I've done a lot of cleaning to this, so. But it's a good way to see if I've gotten everything out. I probably would even take a little vacuum cleaner to it or something like that. Yeah, that's still something on top. But now, see, when I had to get the strainer to the new, yeah, there's still some on the side. I'll probably take a blower to it and try to get some of that more of that out with the blower. I got the new strainer from eBay, to about 25 bucks, and then the strainer should stop all that. And then, like I said, the other sending unit for about 85. Well, like I said, I just didn't want to have to redo all of that stuff on the back side, so I just did away with that tank.